Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Shawn Walsh Show. Before we get to today's special edition of the show, which I'm sure all of you will enjoy, we're having on three guests from Eldorado Championship Wrestling as they are on their road to Wrestlemania. So, especially to those who are not familiar with those guys, I think you guys should take a listen. Some cool guys, and I think you guys may be interested in checking out Wrestlemania afterwards. But before we get into that, I want to very quickly announce some things for Call All Stars. Those who have been following the Facebook page may know about these announcements already, which you can go to facebook.com/callallstars and like the page, and you will see the updates posted on the page. First, there will be a Call All Stars special event, Last Chance, this May. It'll be the last special until Call All Stars 9, and it is already setting up to be a star-studded event. I know some people are a little iffy on the specials, so we've downsized them this year. This is only the second special since Call All Stars 8, and it is going to have huge Call All Stars 9 ramifications. First, we have a women's number one contenders tournament. It is a 4-women tournament. Alicia Montoya of ECF will be taking on AJ Lee of New Dawn Pro, and Revy of MCWA will be taking on Bo Dennis of UCWL. The Montoya and AJ Lee match will be taking place on an upcoming episode of New Dawn Pro, one of their chapters, and the match between Revy and Bo Dennis will be taking place on an upcoming episode of MCWA. The finals, the winner of those two matches will meet at Last Chance, and the winner will receive a women's championship match against our champion Amber Stevens later in the evening. Also at Last Chance, Austin Uhas, the Call All Stars Money in the Bank holder, will be putting his Money in the Bank on the line as he faces his tag team partner of AFN in Ben Hopkins. Ben Hopkins has said that if he does win the briefcase, he will cash in for a championship match at Call All Stars 9. Speaking of championship matches for Call All Stars 9, in their last battle, Shawn O'Connor will face Brandon Wolf. This is Brandon Wolf's last chance to get back his Call All Stars Rumble Championship opportunity that he won back at Call All Stars 8. But to do that, he has to beat the man that he has yet to beat in Shawn O'Connor. If he can do that, he will get that chance back, and he will fulfill his destiny that he put out to go after the title at Call All Stars 9. However, if Shawn O'Connor is able to keep that, he will put himself back to where he feels he should be on the top of the mountain and could have a Call All Stars Championship match. Now, on top of all that, we have a bunch of contenders who could be challenging for the title, but we do not know who the champion will be going into Call All Stars 9. We will find out the answer to that question at an upcoming AWF click-per-view event called Meltdown. It should be coming out within the next week or so. Current champion AJ Young, the only two-time champion in Call All Stars history, will be defending that championship against two men who have been a thorn in his side for the past few months, and that being the Goonie, who he defeated at Call All Stars 8, and also Casey Gordon, who was also in the finals with the Goonie in the Kingdom of Car tournament, and also laid out the Goonie and AJ Young at the last Call All Stars special event, the Call All Stars Christmas. They will meet in a triple threat match with the championship on the line. unless one of the contenders decides otherwise, the winner of this match could very well be walking into Call All Stars 9 as Call All Stars champion. This match is very important, so for those who are very curious to see who the champion is going to be, this is a must-see match and must-see event. Just like Last Chance, which will be the last chance for the competitors who will get the chance to compete on that show. Also, there will be a special Crazy Stuff division match that you saw back at the Christmas special. Something of a presidential chamber of sorts. Not much more I can say about that, because quite frankly, I'm not sure what we will be getting, but I know it will be crazy. I think that's about it. That's all the information I have regarding Call All Stars. So now we can send it over to the ECW guest, who will be talking about WrestleMania 2 and among many other ECW topics. Thank you, and I hope you guys enjoy the show. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a very special edition of the Shawn Walsh Show. Today I'm being joined by not one, not two, but three guests. Three guests who come from Eldorado Championship Wrestling. Very cool call show on YouTube, which all of you should check out, or I will haunt you in your nightmares. That might or might not be true. So, I am being joined by first, the owner of ECW, Ryan Paul Jones.
Hello.
Also, we have the ECW World Champion, AJ Hawkx.
Hey.
And then we have Matt Black.
What's up?
Hey,
nice introduction.
Now,
No.
I will
Don't get no good introduction. Just
well,
him.
okay,
That's
Matt
just
Black. He could be the next ECW NXT champion. Could
No.
I feel like I just got the AJ treatment. That guy from over in the corner over there.
That guy from Atlanta.
And then there's this guy.
I don't. We can't just give it to Matt Black. Let him earn that title. Okay. That's if he wins. It's triple threat. But yes, welcome to the show. Got a lot to talk about here. ECW. It's really weird that ECW it's like a niche following. It's a coincidence that with those letters, ECW, while it is not the same in regards to maybe Extreme Championship Wrestling, but in the fact that it's this nice thing going on here that maybe not everyone knows about, but the people who know about it is like, wow, it's like a whole different world going on here. So, which is crazy. So, first I'm going to send this to Ryan. I know we talked about this when you were on the first time, but very, very briefly, how did ECW come about for people who didn't check the first one?
Yeah, I've mentioned this to people off and on for a while now. I said I was never in like this I guess what you call like the original like YouTube and social media call circles, but like I've been a fan of like call wrestling and wrestling video games, all that stuff for a long time. And ECW, what ECW is now, I should say. I was originally doing just like universe mode stuff in the games. I didn't have any background in even like recording or editing. And when 2K14 came out, actually like 2K, I should say in WWE13, I was using like the ECW stuff kind of loosely with just a bunch of like original, no-name calls that I had made up on my own. And I had this idea to make one of my good friends, Sam Monroe, as a call, just as a joke, literally as a joke. I was like, I'm just gonna make you as a call, dude. And I posted like a video of like his entrance, like just recorded off my phone, Facebook, posted pictures of the call, and other people, like other friends, were like, "Hey, dude, make me in the game." They were just like impressed with it for some reason. So one thing led to another, and it was like this snowball of momentum, literally. Like, people started telling other people about it. You know, we didn't have like a Facebook page, Facebook group, a YouTube, or anything at first. I was literally just bullshitting, just posting these videos. And, people were like, I just want to know my guy's progress. Is he going to be a champion? And this and that. And then finally, it literally got to the point to where I was like, how many people would be interested if I actually recorded the full matches for you guys? And a whole bunch of people were on board with it. And that was about the time AJ Hawkx came into the picture. And it slowly developed from there. And if you go back and watch stuff from when I was on 2K14, it's rough. It's very rough around the edges. So please forgive me if people are being particularly there. It's definitely a lot better now. It's a constant improvement. When I came on the show, I think we were just starting on 2K15 last time, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Maybe right after. And that's when things started to pick up some momentum. And I think when that's what, like, right now, like, our second season of stuff, that was the beginning of it. And we transitioned later from then into 2K16, still in the same season. So it's been a little bit longer of a process. But it's just one of those things that kind of picked up and it just stuck with us. And I mean, like I said, it's kind of a niche thing. The people who are I think the people who are inside on it definitely, you get a good feel for what's going on now. Because, like, at the time for you, Shawn, it was kind of hard to explain it to you because you weren't really familiar with it at first. But now that you've kind of been in the inner workings and kind of seen how we are and stuff, now you have, like, a much, better viewpoint of what it is.
Mm-hmm. I remember that the last time you were on, because it was when you guys were on 15. Because I remember you took the ballsy move of going on to that game that me and many others were like, nah, we're good. We'll wait till 16.
Yeah, everybody was still doing 14 at the time because, like, they didn't have the story editor and stuff like that, and there was some limitations here and there. But I enjoyed it. Like, we had like a limited roster, but at the time we had the ability for, like, as weird as it sounds, to have like that 25 call slots that we had. We really developed those people, like, really, really heavily for that time period, and it worked out actually kind of to our benefit in a way.
Now I'm going to go to AJ and Matt here, 'cause how they got into ECW, what they saw. Were they right away like, yeah, sign me up first? Go to the champ, AJ?
Well, mine's kind of a funny story. I'd already been legit working for a little bit, and my roommate, his name's Jim. He was friends with Ryan. I believe, like, you guys were friends through music and stuff like that. Was that how you guys were? Yeah, you guys were. You were in the band, and
I was playing in
he
the
was
local
like, he's a booker.
He was like a promoter, and he had, like, and at the time I was like, oh man, this guy, he knows other bands and stuff, and I had those aspirations of playing. I never actually got to play a show for Jim. Kind of funny story, but Jim was one of those people who joined ECW on a whim. He was just like, kind of like, what is this? And then he got sucked into it for a brief amount of time and roped you into it.
Yeah, well, he didn't really rope me into it. Like, he was into wrestling for a little bit, and then, like, living with me is living with a wrestler, so it kind of brought his interest back in. And then, yeah, you were doing that, and he was like, "Yo, you need to check this out. This is pretty cool." Like, he puts on the matches. He, like, people do this, do that. They cut the promos. Like, it's like a legit thing, and he does it all in the game. And I'm like, I took a look at it, and I was like, this is fucking cool. So that was literally word. I was like, this is pretty fucking cool. And then he's like, dude, you should join. We'll be a tag team, and we'll do that. And that's literally how I broke in as a tag. It was a tag team with Jim in the game.
Debuted as the first ever NXT Tag Team Champions.
Yup. How about that?
Oh no, Matt. What about you? How did you see this? What did you think?
So the way I saw it is I was part of just like a call. It wasn't like a call like wrestling like online stuff, e-feds. It was more just like a page on Facebook where people just like put up their creative wrestlers and stuff like that. So I had thrown one up in Ryan, and we were talking a little bit, and we talked about joining and stuff, and I didn't really wasn't really interested that far. So then, like, a couple months later, I messaged him back. I was like, "Hey, are you still interested?" Stuff like that. And now, mind you, I had never seen any of it. Never watched a show. Never watched any show at all. So the first time I like got into it, watched one show, I was just like, man, like this is crazy. I didn't even know anything like this existed. And from watching the first show, like I was all in at that point.
That's really interesting. So, like, for you guys, I mean, obviously, professional wrestling fans, so that's the intrigue. But a lot of people, usually when I talk to them, are like, yeah, before I either did my show or I joined this show, I saw whatever show. But for you guys, it was kind of like, it wasn't like the community like that, like, just drew you in. It's just like, oh, look at this, and then, oh, here's ECW. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was
like,
very interesting. Oh, I didn't mean to cut you off, but yeah, for me it was really interesting. It's something like I've seen like I've been on YouTube and stuff like that. I've seen like other cause shows before, and it always was something really cool. But like the concept that he had going on, it just was super intriguing. The way everybody would cut their own stuff, the way how the way the matches played out, this, that, and everything. It was just really interesting to me. So. And then I'd gotten around to seeing some of the older stuff, and yeah, it was a little rough or whatever. But I mean, I'm easily amused. It doesn't have to be like perfect bells and whistles for me. So like, the second I saw it, I was like, dude, I'm hooked on this. This is fucking great.
Now, I'm intrigued for like you guys, AJ and Matt, because I talked to Ryan about this before, but when you guys saw this thing of Caw and what it is, because you can't really figure that out from like day one. Be like, oh, look, they make their guys on video games and they do a show. That's the very condensed way of looking at it. It's so much big, and that's for good and bad. What did you think of seeing that there's these people in this kind of quote-unquote community that just do this? Because it's not something that you would normally, go to school and just be like, oh, hey, did you catch any Caw lately?
Well, I mean, being around wrestling, I grew up a fan of pretty much anything wrestling. So like, if it had to do with wrestling, I was immediately about it. Like I said, I wrestle in real life, and it's like sometimes you get a couple of guys that are like, oh, these nerds, and they do this fucking thing where they make wrestlers because they're not wrestlers, and I never got that. I never had that vibe, because I'm like, this is cool. They're still doing their thing. It's not really. I didn't ever found it like weird or anything like that, because a lot of the times people that I've had like the best conversations with about wrestling or anything like that have been people that have like done Caw shows, or like they have a wrestler that's in Caw or something like that. Like, I don't know, it was always just a really interesting concept, and then like seeing how much time really goes into like making a Caw show. Like I've sat around and like talked to Ryan while he's like editing a show or something, just to see like all the stuff that goes into it. I don't know, it's crazy, and the cult following that Caw has, because when you think about Caw's not really for. It could be for everyone, but it's like it's not always for everyone. It's not everybody's cup of tea, but I don't know, to see like how tight knit. Like that's the one thing that's always super cool. Like seeing how tight knit and passionate everybody is about it was what gets me too, because just I don't know, it's just really cool.
Yeah. Now, with being in the business, the real business, not what we do. Because you're talking about like how like maybe some of the wrestlers see it. Because I've always wondered this. Because I've always thought, do they look at this as like backyard wrestling? There's a lot of wrestlers who, if you're going to train to be a wrestler and you backyard wrestle, you better not tell anyone, because there's a lot of wrestlers.
They're gonna shit can you so quick.
They don't like that.
Get beat up.
Well, see, this is kind of the thing that I found. Like, see, like I trained, like I did the wrestling, like I did it, but like for personal reasons, this is like the perfect outlet for me, since like I'm like not in a place right now to actually go back and train. Like this is like the greatest outlet I've ever had when it came to that, because like this is basically I'm doing the same thing, just not actually like having to physically put my body in the work.
No bumps.
Right.
No, yeah.
And that's the cool thing for me too is like I even like complete agreement there with Matt is like like I was talking about like before we started recording like I just turned 30 today and like I always wanted to get into the business as a kid like when I remember being in like 6th grade telling teachers like when they're like what do you do when you get out of school and I'm like I want to wrestle and they're like kind of rolled their eyes like no what about a real job though and I was like die hard about it back then I told my family and stuff like I want to wrestle like I remember having this like crazy aspiration way back as a kid around that time when WCW was still on. Like finding a way to go to the WCW power plant and train. That was like my goal as a child once upon a time. But obviously things change, went down a different path in life. I don't resent it. But through meeting people like Anthony and Kyle McNasty Bones, these guys who have who are a part of ECW, who are workers, and maybe they're not like on the grand levels of like something like television yet, but these guys are still working. They're still getting out there and they know the business obviously better than I do. And for them to be like, Ryan, you have the mind of a booker. You could actually.
Oh, 100%. Like if I've told you a million times, I don't mean to cut you off, but if you had the funds to fucking make your own like actual show, bring guys, it'd be money, dude. And I don't want to like just make it sound like I'm kissing Ryan's ass or anything like that, but like I've legit said that to him. He's got an incredible, for someone who's quote unquote, you're not in a business where he's got a fucking brilliant mind for it.
Yeah,
So,
I just think it all goes back to just being like for me like being just like a lifelong passionate fan of wrestling. Like I mean like wrestling was always like kind of like my first love. The music became like my second love, and to me call is just like a great outlet for it. And and like some people I don't know, some people like get into it young. Some people I actually got into like you said the quote unquote community of it. I always kind of wondered like, oh, is there more people into it like this? And lo and behold, there are. I just stumbled into this community, into my later 20s. So it's just kind of funny how things worked out. But I mean, yeah, it's just a great atmosphere and a group of people. For me, I mean, there's good and bad, but for me, the good always outweighs the bad.
Oh, exactly.
Oh yeah, of course. It's how you got to look at it. I mean, if you're looking at it like it's so bad, then it's not fun. But there's so much.
I don't know. In the end, it does. I don't mean to cut you off, sorry.
No,
but yeah. In the end, it's not really hurting anybody. Like the couple of wrestlers that I've seen, like poke fun at it as like a couple. It's not fucking hurting them. It's not like. It's not a detriment on the business. It's not like you're seeing a couple. It's not like your call is a backyard wrestler going out and trying to get bookings and being unsafe with a worker or something like that. This is a bunch of people that are trying to have some fun.
Yeah, hey, even I've always said this when it comes to call, because I know you guys are saying like maybe it's not for everyone, and I think that's true. It isn't for everyone, but I don't think it goes into the element of you like wrestling, you don't like wrestling. I think it's a creative element. There are some people who love creativity, and whether that be with editing for videos or pictures, whether that be for video games, whether that be just in the mind and writing and all that kind of stuff. If you're creative, you're gonna love it and be like, because there's so many different things you can do. But if you're someone who's genuinely not a creative person, well then you're probably gonna think, why?
Yeah, I mean it helps to have that that love of wrestling or that of wrestling, to have that background, of course. But yeah, if you're a genuinely creative person, because I've seen a couple of things where it's like this person has never watched a wrestling show in their life, but their character's fucking off the chart. It's wonderful.
Yeah, it's such a like a creative freedom that you can have just to do almost like whatever you want, come up with whatever like idea you have for like a character is pretty much there. You can make it.
Mm-hmm.
In a very small way, it's like the guys who are playing the roles, it's like they're, again in a small way, they're actors performing a role, and then for the guys behind the screen who are writing the storylines and booking the matches, that's all writing scripts for TV shows, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Get into it just maybe for like a creative side. Like one person that comes out to mind for me is one of our more newer people, Armias Baraki. He when he joined like Mikael Aether was telling me that Armias he wasn't even really like a wrestling guy. Like he actually is trained like MMA, and he does that like pretty regularly. And he's like into like some like writing and a little bit of like directing and acting and like these like short films that he's been working on and stuff. But like he had only kind of known wrestling. But since he's become a member, like full-fledged member of ECW, he has become a wrestling fan through ECW. And to me, that speaks kind of to the power of like what Call can do. Because I mean, yeah, it's just a silly hobby and it's just like video games, and you can attribute it to whatever, you know, adjective or description that you want. But I mean, it's opening up things to people like this, you know. I mean, like there's people who come in and whether they're a wrestling fan or not, they can exit a wrestling fan. And this guy's like watching like Raw and SmackDown, like WWE Raw and SmackDown like weekly now, just because, you know, like, oh, you know, these guys are all wrestling fans. They talk about it, they're into it, and it's cool. It's how this like kind of rubbed off with that like little bit of interest, and you know, it made somebody else a fan of it in the long term.
That's pretty cool, by the way. Now, ECW, one of the highlights for me that I like, and I think it's pretty cool, and Ryan does a great job with, and clearly has for years, is with NXT. So many, like, the idea of, like, doing that and having guys go there, and, like, this is good thinking on his part, and clearly, as we've seen, it's worked for a lot of people. Did you just, like, from the beginning, were like, yeah, some of these guys may need to go, may need this, or?
It's kind of funny. Like, again, when ECW was, like, in its infancy, like, the very, very early steps of ECW, and, like, at the time, I just had, like, a bunch of, you know, shows with no real rhyme or reason. No, there was not really a lot of heavy booking. And then a guy who used to be, actually was, like, our world champion for a while, his name was Dylan, his character was known as the Paragon. It was like a really great heel character that we had. But he had this idea actually, because we had a bunch of people coming in at one time, and you know, there were some people who they didn't quite fully get like the character and promo concepts, and he was like, why don't we actually do like an NXT development type thing for them? You know, let them earn their spots, and you know, that way they don't. Because what was going on, and Shawn, you know all about this, is people were coming in and their first promo was like, I want a world title shot. Yep. And that was like all the promo was. Like nothing more.
My favorite promos.
Not even introducing themselves barely, just like, you know, and it was like,
give me that belt.
At this point, like I said, this kept going just long enough to kind of start working on storylines. We were getting to a point like, all right, we were going to kind of do more with this. And these people were literally coming in and just putting roadblocks up and impeding that progress towards things. And, you know, and then naturally you tell them no and they get mad. And, you know, things change, and it was just, like, okay, we need something for them to do to cut their teeth and to, you know, get into it, and it went for a while, and then, you know, we got some really good people that came out of it. AJ Hawkx, Aether Adamus, you know, some other people.
Oh yeah, I was an NXT baby.
AJ started off as an NXT guy, believe it or not. You know, and then what happened was when I was going to move to 2K15, I actually didn't have the space, so I discontinued NXT for 2K15. And then 2K16 happened, and I had more people coming in again, and I was like, it's time to bring NXT back. And you're seeing, you know, that it's paid off, I think. Like you said, it's, again, got some people who I think are going to be able to stick around for a while. And
I'd say it paid off.
Definitely. The other thing that NXT did too when I went to 2K16, right about that time was when Caleb Blair came into ECW. And anybody I've talked to about Caleb Blair coming into ECW, Caleb Blair for me changed ECW in a very positive way, because it started with Caleb Blair, and then I went to you, Shawn, and then I branched out, and now we've got like J-Crack getting ready to come in. We had Kenyon Phoenix in for a little bit, you know, and there's been some more people like that who are coming in. And those are people, like, when I was back on the show last time, those are people, like, I've been starting to watch COH and stuff more, and I was like, I wanted more of these people, but I don't ever want to, again, I don't like to intrude on people and put more on people's shoulders than I feel like I need to. So I hate to go like, hey, man, do you have time to be in my show? Because some guys like yourself are on many shows already, and it's just another thing on your plate. But, you know, so Caleb came in, and you know, at that time I was like, I wanted to view him as like more than an NXT guy, this guy, people who are watching from another show know who he is. So I was able to take Caleb Blair and Shawn Walsh and then Ray Geddes and a couple of these other guys and put them on Raw and be like, these guys are exclusive guys, you know. So it separated them from the NXT guys, and that was just a benefit of being able to like distinguish those brands again. So I think it's all paid dividends in different ways.
All right, and I do definitely want to talk to you guys about Caleb Blair coming in and guys like me coming in and taking your spots and stuff like that.
Listen, buddy. Listen. Ain't taking shit.
I just haven't gotten there yet. Because I'm very intrigued. But for NXT, for you, AJ and Matt, you guys, did you guys? I mean, for you, AJ, I mean, you were there earlier on, so maybe not so. But how did you see it? Did you look at it differently? Like, oh, I'm in NXT, or were you like, oh, cool?
Well, for me, like, coming in, like, this was kind of perfect for me because, like I said, like, I've never done anything like this. So, like, literally, like, when I first come in, you can ask Anthony, you can ask Ryan. Like, I asked so many questions. I was like, what do I need to do? Can I get pointers? What I need to do? And, like, the NXT kind of worked perfect because, like, it was kind of like dipping a toe in the pool, kind of feeling what it was like. So, like, I got a good concept, and now, like, I feel comfortable as ever, like, just cutting promos, knowing what's going on, everything. So, like, it really helped develop me to understand what Call is all about.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. You were definitely one of those guys. Like, hey, man, how does this look? Hey, how does this look? How does it? You know, you were definitely a good little student.
Yeah, like I said, like,
a little
after about every promo, I was like literally like, hey, how's that promo? Like, do I need to change anything? What works better? Like,
yeah. Like, another thing about Matt that a lot of people need to understand, I've told Matt this plenty of times to this point, and there's a lot of people, you know, like you see like stuff like Call Shoot or just like on other call groups, like, you know, people who I guess maybe they just don't have like the patience, you know, and I know like patience is a very, very hard thing to learn for a lot of people, and that's not like knocking people, that's just being honest. Me growing up and being immature and impatient about things myself through life. But I mean, Matt is the perfect example of, like, you hear it like in the wrestling business too about people catching a break. It's a matter of, you know, being there at the right place at the right time. Matt wasn't even on the WrestleMania 2 card. I know we're going to talk a little bit about WrestleMania later. Matt wasn't even on the WrestleMania 2 card. But because the things happened with Kenyon Phoenix coming through and passing through and leaving, Matt got bumped onto the card as a result of his work had got him to that point. Because Matt was just going to be in a program with Kenyon Phoenix that was going to continue into 2K17. And, you know, that was going to be Matt's, like, way of working his way up the NXT ladder a little bit. But, you know, Matt, just because, I mean, he came in, like, Matt, honestly, I've told a lot of people this too. I was, like, bragging on Matt's first promo. It just caught my attention. And, I mean, he said some things like, you know, he wanted to be the champion and stuff. And that's cool. I mean, because, like, that happens. People do that stuff. But, I mean, it was just more than that. It was, like, it was.
I had to be that guy for a minute. I had to make the rookie mistake, man.
Everybody does, though. I mean, it's not a negative
Fucking
thing.
killing the business, man.
But I mean, it's the way that people say things and the wording and the vocabulary that they choose, and, you know, all that little stuff that went into it. I was like, with a little bit of refinement, if, you know, we put the brakes on you here and have you actually earn that, it will pay off. And dare I say, Matt is one of the most talked about guys right now in NXT, and he hasn't even been in NXT as long as some people probably think. Like, that's the crazy thing about it.
Quick learner. I mean, and that's great, and I hope other people do the same thing, because I think I really wish, honest to God, I wish everyone who came in here did it the way that Matt did. Came in, we're like, oh, okay, I need to figure some things out. Talk to some guys, hey, what did you think about this? Yeah, and then you go on and you get better, and boom, you get there. But to like what Ryan said, some people don't have that patience, which sucks, because it would make things easier for other guys. But I mean, hey, some people have their own way. I just like Matt's way.
Don't worry, I like my way too.
I gotta ask this just on a sidetrack here, since we were kind of talking about it. You know, how you weren't even supposed to be on the WrestleMania 2 card. Now you're on it. Well, because was Phoenix leaving, and that was originally what you had planned. When I don't know when you got told, or if when you found out, or whatever the case was with Phoenix, because you guys had a program going on. What did you think when you first heard like, oh, that he had to leave? Were you just kind of like, well, what do I do now, or like what did you think about that?
It was kind of like, I told Ryan, I was kind of like disappointed because like, man, like the whole time like up to it, like I really haven't had, like I had the program with Azriel, and like, you know, basically like nothing against Azriel or anything, but like I was kind of doing the promo work, and like Azriel would do the text promo and stuff like that. So like I was like, man, with Canyon Phoenix, like he's been known to do promos. I was like, man, cool, I can have like these like promo wars and stuff like that. So like I was like looking forward to that. Like I was really looking forward to having that one long like feud that I could kind of like get into, like really kind of progress the story out of it. But like I mean, like I told Ryan, like after I was like kind of disappointed. I was like, man, like what are we gonna do now? Like what do I do now? Like we kind of put all this effort into a heel turn, everything for this one feud, and now it's kind of like gone, and it's like, man, like what do we go from here? So that's when like me and him started messaging, and he kind of came up with the idea that we have now that led us into WrestleMania 2. So I mean, it was at first it was a little discouraging, but I mean, like I said, like I messaged Ryan and we got together and we talked and we figured out a game plan to make this work. And like he was hitting me up with all these ideas and stuff like that. Hey man, like what do you think of this? How do you want to do this? What does this work for you? Like, you think this is a good idea? Like, there's like so much credit goes to Ryan for coming up with these ideas and having this like being able to just rebound like within no time with another plan and everything like that.
Yeah, I'll add two things there. First of all, the Ryan Azriel feud was all Matt. I'm not going to take any credit for that. I just put the pieces together. Azriel wanted to do this thing where he kind of started picking on the little guys in NXT, and just to see who had the balls to step up, really, and Matt did. And dare I say, it got Matt.
Wasn't taking any of that shit.
It got Matt over like really quick because I mean, like Azriel has been in ECW pretty well since day one, and has continued to grow to be like one of the more popular guys on the show. And Matt's like, dude, I want a piece of that. And the brass ring you always hear about. I mean, that was it for him. It set him up well.
I took many hospital visits for that rivalry too.
Right. And then,
Yeah, you did.
and then number two, like, and again, Shawn, this is something I know you know probably more about even than I do because you've been doing a show longer than I have. But one thing that I learned very quickly in Call was if you're the booker, and this is like a FYI to anybody who might want to start a show or is kind of new to starting a show, always have a backup plan and always be ready to think quickly because you never know what's going to happen. And it's just I joke around with people all the time, but like a lot of the time work for me is when I do a lot of my creative thinking, because if I'm having a slow night at work and I'm not like excruciatingly busy, lately I've been taking a notebook with me and I write down ideas. And then I just message people when I'm at work, and, try to get the wheels spinning, get people thinking, and that's what happened. I was like, hey, okay, well that didn't work out, so let's do this for you, because obviously Matt at that point needed something. His character deserved something, and and again, it's worked out. It's worked out tenfold for him. So I'm glad that I was able to play a hand that and make it happen.
That's great, but then that's also great advice for you call guys. Have a backup plan. Also, don't put all your marbles into one guy. Put your marbles into a bunch of different guys. You never know what can happen. You never know.
Call is just a hobby, and a very unpredictable hobby.
I've had a guy who I built up. I put everything into it. His last show was the main event, and then he was like, yeah. Well, he didn't actually tell me until after I figured it out, but he was leaving. I'm like, oh, nice. So I scrambled and I made it work and, just moved on. I was lucky. Not everyone will be. So just, have some backups in mind. And maybe you have a guy like Matt who, when the opportunity comes, like, hey, here you go. Now he's in the NXT Championship match at WrestleMania. Could he be the next champion?
Boy.
I don't know, Matt.
Could be. I'm going to need you to get your confidence up a little bit on that one.
We'll see. I mean, speaking of champions, now ECW champion. Clearly, there was
That's me.
There was a path. Yeah, that is you. For now.
He's a little slow. We have to make sure that he remembers who he is.
Yeah. My path has been a bumpy one. I forget things sometimes.
Mini headshots.
Oh yeah. Oh, unprotected chair shots all day. That's the only way I know how to take them.
Well, unfortunately for you, I'm gonna have to ask you to remember some things. Oh man. From NXT to ECW champion, without telling me every single detail, because that's a lot of time. How did you get there? How was the progression to there? Because that's a big step.
Oh yeah. Well, as Ryan touched on a little bit earlier, when I debuted with Jim, we won the NXT Tag Championships.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it is not so much a big step for winning gold or anything like that, because I kind of walked in a champion. I was blessed for that, but not appreciative, of course. But yeah, from there it was just honestly it's just picking my spots, because I knew that all right, I can't be like, trying to I'm on NXT. I can't be like going, I'm gonna challenge the champ on the big show and do this and all that. So like I bided my time, worked the tag scene out, and it was really good. It was it helped me get my promo skill up, because one of the things I liked about ECW was being the worker is like I felt like this was a really good place to improve promo work, because it's a pretty promo heavy show, like as far as getting the story across, because got to tell a story. But yeah, so went from NXT Tag Champion and worked that a little bit, and then I'm trying to think. Here we go. I'm trying to think.
Just chair shots.
I ended up calling. Yeah, right.
Here if you need the hot tag.
Yeah, right. I guess I need to be a tag team champion again. But no. What did I do? Oh yeah, I called out after a bit. I felt confident enough, and I called out the biggest dog in one of the bigger dogs in the park, Jeremy. Big dog, and called out Jeremy McGlasson. Was he the champion? He was the champion.
Jeremy had just lost the title to McNasty Bones in the infamous Night of Champions Illuminati Screwjob, and what was going on was Jeremy was supposed to get his rematch at Hell in a Cell, and Kyle at the time, being this ultra heel that he was and still is, wanted to do this Inferno match, and Jeremy was kind of going through partially as a result of ECW, partially as a result of real life, a little bit of self-esteem stuff, and kind of backing out a little bit, and was like, I don't know, well, here comes AJ Hawkx like a fucking locomotive, calling, again, this doesn't work for everybody, so I don't want to give everybody this idea, because some people this doesn't work for. Calling out everybody. He called out, at the time, Jeremy had this faction called the Order of Raw Power, and then there was the Illuminati, and it was this big superhero, supervillain war going on, and AJ comes just barreling through everybody, literally taking out everybody on one side, turning around, fighting everybody on the other side, just to get the McNasty Bones. And this became his story. Mike Giacchino was brought in as this Illuminati guy and became the hardcore champion. AJ Hawkx, kind of in a fluke move, beats Mike Giacchino the week of Hell in a Cell for the hardcore title. Then again, our booking was not 100% on a lot of stuff back then, but calls out McNasty.
Shouldn't have gave him that fucking belt.
Calls out McNasty Bones after bumping Jeremy out of the match. Jeremy kind of leaves the company kayfabe at the time, and
I retired him. It was a take your spot versus career match.
Yeah. And so McNasty Bones is fine, you can have this spot in this Inferno match, still going to lose, you're still going to get burned, all this. He's but you also have to put your belt on the line. And AJ lost the match. Kyle held both belts, ended up holding both belts for a little while. Turned into this. You've heard the stories probably of them flipping each other off as promos, and McNasty Bones pissing on a piece of paper with AJ Hawkx written on it, and just these like ludicrous back and forth like zany promos that these two cut on each other. It became like the story of like our first year season, whatever you want to call it, this AJ Hawkx McNasty Bones rivalry. I mean, by that time, AJ like ended up fighting shortly thereafter like twice for the world title at like Survivor Series and the first TLC, and didn't win. People were like begging for AJ to win the title at the first TLC. And I was like, no, I'm not rocket packing AJ Hawkx yet. I'm going to build him up to the title a little bit more. And then when we got through with all of the first year stuff after the first WrestleMania, was when I started getting more into like this long-term booking mentality. And a lot of the stuff playing out now is stuff that was booked a long time ago to save a little bit of.
I want to jump in right here. I want to jump in real fast. When Ryan says long-term, I did not know the extensiveness of long term until me and him started talking, like messaging and like just talking over Xbox and stuff. He is not like this man's like memory and like just planning ahead is insane. Like he plans like this stuff like years in like the EFED like completely out. Like it's insane. Like I did not realize how much backstory was into half the WrestleMania matches until I started talking with him about that.
I'll put it like this: like about the time that I was in around Extreme Rules 2 on 2K15, we already knew. Well, the people who were like on the inside on the booking part of it already knew that Ryan Asriel was winning the Royal Rumble, and already knew that AJ Hawkx was going to cash in Money in the Bank, and they were going to fight at WrestleMania in the main event, and then that's kind of that. So I mean, it was already there on paper.
Speaking of on paper, because this is something that ECW does differently that I honest to God didn't see before. It's like a collab of E-Fed and Caw-Fed, where obviously the show is up. You can watch the show and you can see what happens, but you can also read about the show, which is another reason as to why there's no excuse. I mean, you can't be like, oh, I didn't see the show, go read about it. Did you just like the collaboration of EFED like and Caw, or what? Because it's a different concept.
It was just like at the time like I didn't know like there was even like a difference in like Caw and EFED, like typing stuff up when I first started doing it and then posting like some pictures from the matches or whatever, like it was like the most convenient thing to do. And like it's still popular with a lot of the guys, people who have like jobs in school and stuff, because a lot of times if they want to have a promo ready and they don't they don't have time to watch a full 2-hour show right away, like they'll watch the show like on their day off or something. But they can read the results, get the gist of what they need to know, and have the promo to go off of that. Like you said, there's not really a lot of excuse there. It's like it saves some accountability, I guess. And everybody knows who's talked to me, like it's a lot of work when I'm like screen capping like as many pictures that I do for a show sometimes, and then I type up all of the stuff, especially the pay-per-view is like a match by match typed out thing. Like I've tried to get away from it, but it's still really popular with the guys for some reason, and I'm like I don't want to take away something that they like about it. So like I have like kind of a love-hate relationship with it at this point just because of the work that I do with it, but I mean it's cool that people like it, and it it helps people. It helps the show actually stay on a schedule at this point, because I mean a lot of times when a show is good, I'll have like all the promos I need before I've even recorded or edited the show, or I mean I shouldn't say recorded, before I've edited the show. So I mean I'm not like waiting for promos a lot of the time because of I guess it has its perks.
Okay, all right. This is gonna be an interesting one for you, all you guys. Like, because I touched on it in the beginning in the intro, ECW, and it's like how it's like a niche product, and there's so many like a lot of you guys are like when I go and tell people like, oh yeah, there's like ECW, and they're like, oh wow, I never heard. What makes the guys of ECW different than the guys of everywhere else? Like, a guy like me, you go like, oh yeah, they've been in all these places, yada yada yada. But then ECW, it's like there's ECW like homegrown guys, and it's like this whole other world. It's like what makes you guys different than everyone else? And because there certainly is in a good way. I guess dude,
So what makes us? What makes us different
don't jump
than
all in
everybody?
at the same time, you know.
So like, what makes us different than everybody?
Yeah,
First of all, we're not a bunch of fucking nerds. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah,
No, but,
losers.
yeah, fuck it. ECW #1, all that other stuff. No, I feel like what makes us different. Everybody, I feel, has their own different like flavor with like the group of guys that they have. Like what you see in Call of Honor, you're not gonna see in ECW because there's like, granted, there might be maybe one or two guys that'll go between or something, but there's just the atmosphere and the group of guys is different. So you already got that going, and then just the way I've seen some other shows and like the way that they do stuff versus the way that like we do stuff. There's some differences in that as well, and I just believe that like the group of guys we have, because I mean they're all a bunch of talented group of guys. Some are a bit more, I guess, like on the ball than others, but I mean like it's just the flavor, I guess, like the flavor of characters that you're gonna get here is way different than the characters you're gonna get somewhere else. We don't there's not that like, I don't really see like a generic guy in the roster. And I don't know. I like that, and that's what I feel like stands out. It's just the different characters and all that stuff that we're able to put together makes it a really interesting show. Because you got Matt over here. He's trying to make his way through. He's trying to fight Ryan Azrael. He's trying to do this, making a name for himself. Where I was at one point, and then you got me. I'm fucking asshole champion, who by hook or by crook or by hostage situation finds a way to hold on to the title. And then you got Ryan Azrael, who's just he goes and beats up our catering staff and yeah, threatens people with physical violence all the time, and it's always fun to watch. And then you got guys like Bishop, voiced by our buddy Luck, who he's so humble one minute, and then he'll just be spitting fire the next minute, and it's just a really interesting group of guys.
Okay.
That make up this roster.
Matt?
Dang.
I don't know if you can top that.
No. I mean, I guess it's one of those things like I think each one of us is like behind, like if you like behind the scenes, like it's like one of those things like each one of us, like we're always helping to like better each other's characters. So like it's one of those things that it's not like you're solely like responsible for your own character, so to speak. Like maybe like Anthony will look at me and be like, "Hey, dude, like Matt Black should totally like do this shit. Like this would be the dopest shit ever." Like so, like we float each other. Like
that's how I'll tell you it too. I was like, "Yo, it'd be really fucking dope if you did this."
It's one of those things like we help, like we come up with the ideas for each other. Like there's one of those things like like Lewis, man. Like Lewis is one of those dudes like. He came up with the whole kind of pick your poison thing for the like NXT 2 weeks ago, and that truly set like the ball off in this rivalry, man. Like this triple threat match is like one of those things like just like behind the scene we come up with like we help produce the show itself along with Ryan.
Yeah, that's I was gonna let these guys chime in first, so I'm not just like talking over everybody. But that's the one key thing that hasn't get on like as far as like not being an owner on that side of Caw, like I've just recently I guess kind of branched out, being asked to branch out. Like Chris had a SGS come into PCW, and then Levi wanted me in ICW. So like and I just kind of see other shows from the outside mainly. But I don't know how the creative process goes for every other show. I mean, I guess some shows are just kind of maybe like an ICW where it's just like, hey, I need your promos and here's the show.
Yeah.
But for me, the way I've always thought with something like this is that it should be a team atmosphere. Like I always like use like quote unquote like the locker room and stuff. Like I feel like if Shawn Walsh and AJ Hawkx were going to be in a feud, you guys have to talk about it and know what's going to happen in this feud. Now I know some people don't want like all the spoilers, but like, you know, you guys need to have like a bullet point list to go off of here. Like, hey guys, this is kind of where we're going with this. You guys are going to blow off at this event. You know, let's build it up to here. Whatever ideas you guys want to incorporate before then, let me know so I can like have, if you want to run in on this guy in a match or something, whatever, you know. And then it needs that communication. And like some people, they're a little gun shy and they're not comfortable with it, and other people love it. And to me, just from ECW, like that is my pride and joy of it, is people like Matt and people like Anthony who come in, and like when you came in, Shawn, you did this. When you came in, you had some ideas right away. You were like, hey, let's try this, and then we kind of changed it a little bit. But still, you know, like that's the kind of stuff. Like if somebody wants to join ECW, that's honestly like the number one thing. I give people shit about it. I joke around about it. I don't care how cool the call looks, man. I don't care if they just have some plain black trunks and boots on. You know, it doesn't. None of that matters to me. I don't care if the dude's like supposed to be 6'8" and like this like eater of worlds destroyer guy. None of that fucking matters, man. Your creativity and your communication are my number one things that I look for, and that's my criteria more often than not. And you know, and like I said, some people they hit home runs with it. And I can look at a guy and be like, they pretty well booked their feud. It makes my life easier, and I'm happy with it to kind of step back and watch it unfold.
I can say this. Actually, no. Go ahead. I want to hear this.
And that's another reason why I say that Ryan has a really good mind for it, because when me and the whole thing with me and Kyle McNass was when we were doing our feud, we were all definitely going back and forth. We had like a group chat going. We're like, okay, how about we try this, and then you're gonna do that, and then it almost felt like, you know, being in an actual promotion, like, you know, booking an actual feud and then the blow off at an actual promotion. And that's another thing that I like that kind of separated it, because I feel it's so in depth. Like, if you get two guys that want to feud, and Ryan will let you run rampant or whatever, but he's there, and the way that we all get together and we think, it just goes so in depth that it just tells a really good story.
Yeah,
you'd see it on like a TV show or something like that.
And there's been guys before. I'm sure there's like a guy somewhere who was left ECW not on good terms, and who would tell you like, oh, well, Ryan didn't listen to any of my ideas. And like, I guess you could say there's a little bit of truth to that in some ways. But like, the bigger picture is like, if an idea doesn't work right away, ideally, when a guy comes in and wants like a title shot, and there's already months and months of title feuding planned, they can't fit into that title shot, I try to give them that second option. You know, I'm like, okay, so you can't get to the champion right now, but what if I paired you with this guy, and this guy is going to get you over? You know, and you know,
me and Azrael.
That's what happened with Matt.
Yeah.
You know, I told Matt, I said, when Matt came in, I was like, you can't feud with Dick Nicholas right now. I said, but we can do this storyline. You come in and you earn his respect, you know, and that's what we rolled with, and you know, and it worked, you know. And again, AJ Hawkx, I mean, although he shot to the top and got the fight for the titles, we still put the brakes on AJ Hawkx until he became the final out of 3 people, and the other 2 I can say were duds because my booking wasn't great back then. But AJ Hawkx became the first like actual Money in the Bank cash in, and it was meaningful because of it. And it's been a critical part of changing his character into what it is now. You know, I mean, that was not, you know, AJ Hawkx wasn't even looked at for like the first Money in the Bank or anything when we were first doing Money in the Banks and shit. So, like, I mean, you know, it's like, again,
I was a B+ player.
Something like that. It goes back to the thing I said earlier about patience. You know, I mean, like, all that stuff it all kind of plays together.
Okay. 2 things. First, man, Ryan, you must be a really good owner, because I wish the guys on my show would be so nice to me like these guys are, and give you so much credit.
Man, fuck Ryan.
Dude, these are just
so sad for you.
I had to offset it a little bit. He was just like, "Man, you guys are so nice. I'm supposed to be a bad guy. Fuck all you guys."
You got the wrong guys on your show, because these are just 2 of the guys that I talk to more frequently than others. So
Everybody else thinks Ryan's a piece of shit.
We'll do another episode and like the people who have been cast out of ECW, and we'll get their opinions.
The second thing, you actually said the word that I was thinking of when I was listening to you guys, and I kind of got the vibe for it, and it was team. Because, I know you said you don't really know how it is with some of the other shows. I'm lucky enough to know how it is, and I've seen it in all these different shows. And not to say the other shows don't have like a team kind of element to it, but there might be, alright, this section of people, this is the team, and everyone else is going out there and trying to better themselves instead of everyone around them. So I think that's the biggest thing that sets ECW apart, is that instead of ECW being like, oh, I'm going to come to ECW and just be like, get myself over, forget everyone else. Everyone's looking out for each other. It's really a team, which I think is pretty cool, because come on, let's have some fun, help everyone else out.
Yeah, that's one of the things I learned when I was training. I was like, by all means, get yourself over. But at the same time, if you have something that'll improve a show, if you have if you can help that other guy look good, it's about making your opponent look good too. Like, by all means, get yourself over. But it's a team, and at the end of the day, you could have like whatever match in a night or whatever. But if the whole show sucked, nobody's gonna be fucking talking about that. They're gonna be talking about how much the show sucked.
Yeah. Plus, it helps you out, because if you make the guy, either a guy that you're, feuding with look better, or you help another guy who you could potentially be feuding with down the road, it makes, by making that guy look good, you're making yourself look good, if not better. So
exactly,
it's a win-win.
See, like I've had this ongoing thing with age, where like I try to be like a more optimistic fan of wrestling, and I've tried to get away from being like a quote unquote typical smart mark fan, and just air out my grievances with everything that I see. One thing that I've really tried to abstain from is using the word buried, and I try my hardest to make it clear in ECW that my goal is to not bury anybody. And then originally from the get-go, all the way up to now, when I used to have a long, elaborate rule thing typed out for the description and all that shit, and I don't even bother with that anymore. I always tell people, rule number 1, get the other guy over, man. If you're promoting on the dude, put the dude over. Even if you're a heel, there's ways to put the other guy over where you can still be a dick as a heel, but put the guy over. You've got to, tell the story and get the shit out there for people to understand. And, if you put him over, you get put over in turn for it. And, and some people, that stuff I think is kind of lost on some people. But, it's not hard to pick up and learn.
Right. All right. Now, guys, you guys tell me real. Ryan's buried people, right? He's just saying that to be nice. There's probably a long list of guys I don't like how his hair looks. I don't like what his voice sounds like. You're getting buried, son. So
the most buried person with the worst win-loss record I don't even keep track of win-loss records, but I'll tell you who has the worst win-loss record in ECW is Ryan Paul Jones. 100%.
Oh yeah, you fucking lose all the time.
Dude, I'm almost, I might as well just be a jobber. I just get over because I'm the boss, and I guess the gimmick just sticks. I don't know. I don't even know why I get over. I think it's just everybody being nice because they're God, he puts too much work into this. Give him a break. But people, I always use that example with people. I'm come on, man. You lost that match? I'm dude, I've lost all but one pay-per-view I've been on.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's why I'm if I'm in a feud here, I hope I'm not on Ryan's team because we're just gonna fucking lose. he puts it's honestly really true. He puts the golden shovel on himself more than he does anybody else. Because I don't know, he doesn't need to win. He's the boss.
Exactly. And I can proudly say as a result of it, man. I believe that's what that. I don't have to give myself credit for something like that, but in a way
credit for burying yourself. No, good job.
No, me putting them over. I still remember back in the very first Money in the Bank, when I had this feud with Shawn Nice, Shawn beating me and everybody groaning because Shawn beat me. I was we're on to something here. Shawn Nice got over for beating the boss, and everybody hated it. It was his crowning achievement at the time. And I was like, wow, like it's insane. And then that's what was able to lead to Jeremy turning heel. Like if Jeremy didn't have that WrestleMania match with me, beat me, and then turn heel, like who knows where Jeremy's character would be right now? Because like he was like in that almost like I hate to like attribute to something like this, but almost in that like Roman Reigns type thing where like the fans just did like people like who were in ECW watching ECW did not want Jeremy to be the guy, and we were pushing Jeremy. Him turning heel was like the best thing other than Caleb Blair that could have happened to him. So I mean, like it was great. Like I was like I was part of that. So that's again me. Like I'm just here to try to make people look good. I guess I don't know. I try to be humble about it.
See, to me, I don't think Ryan buries anybody. I think it's more or less like you bury yourself in ECW than anything else. Like that's kind of how it goes.
That is pretty truthful. If anybody has ever been buried, it's probably because they did some shit.
Yeah.
Or they didn't want to, or they didn't execute when they should have executed, or
well,
so it's probably, like I've said, anything is more than a self-burial, if anything. It's gonna talk over you. Fuck you.
I'm burying you right now. No, it's probably because they left the messenger chat group. That's usually what it is, right? No, I'm just joking.
Pretty much.
Hey, since I've been in ECW, I've been in a lot of shows where like such and such leaves, and I'm like, oh wow, that sucks. They could have done something. ECW for the guys that are something. They know what they're doing, and if they don't, they learn it, and it works out for them. The only people is like someone who's like just doesn't get it, and they leave the channel. It's like, all right, not for you.
Yeah.
So
but it's always been a self burial. Like
yeah.
If they leave the chat group or they leave the actual, that's the only way you're getting buried, because then you're just not on the fucking show anymore.
No, they think they're getting buried because they get asked the tough questions like, "What's your character?" Meanie.
Oh man.
Yeah. What character? I just can't be some guy that gets a title shot right away.
I'm the best. Okay, that's who I am.
Oh my god, that's my favorite one. Who am I? I'm the best wrestler ever. Yeah, you and like 900 other people, dude. Take a ticket.
Oh man, I love it whenever they don't even. I mean, you guys see it. I mean, the people watching.
I'm sure you got some fun horror stories about that, trying to help somebody develop a character, and they're just like, man, I just want to be the best. I'm the champ. My favorite one, like no disrespect to any other shows, because everybody's got their show. They come in and they're like, well, I was like a 400-time champion at this show or something. Yep. And I'm like, that's cool. That don't mean shit here.
I agree 100%. I hate that. And it's not even just like, because it's easy to just be like, oh, well, I was in a show that got 5 views, and I won their title like 20 times, and it's easy to be like, oh, well, that I don't care, no one watched it. This also goes for the same people who are like, oh, I don't care if 500 people watch that show.
Yeah. I don't care if 800 people watched your show. It's a whole different environment when you're like going across shows. Like, I'm the ECW champion here, but I don't expect, like, maybe my character will expect it, but I don't expect the fucking welcome mat, like red carpet, fucking automatic title shots if I was to go to, like, I don't know, be on a show for Call of Honor or something like that. I don't expect to automatically be pushed as their champion, just because I was a champion at some other show.
Yeah.
And like, you could be a 900 time like whatever blah 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 champion, but you got to put in the work everywhere.
Exactly. That's why, like, when I came to ECW, I was like, I don't want to give these guys the vibe that I'm like, oh, I'm just hot shit from somewhere else, and I'm gonna be.
You'd have just been working string beam the whole time and you'd buried your ass.
So I was like, I'm just gonna make sure like I don't do. Because if I came in there and I was like, ECW, I won this many tag belts, I won this belt, I mean, like, I'd be done right away, because I know when I see it, I'm like, yeah, okay, click. We're done.
I mean, it's decent to like build a story if you're like trying to say like, yeah, I'm kind of not so much like, yeah, I'm a big deal, but like, I can get the job done, and then it's like a small, like minuscule part of your character,
Right.
I don't mind
like,
that at all. But if you're telling me how fucking cool you are because you won so many titles, then ugh.
You can, I think you can in like a small degree, like when a guy like when Ray comes in, like now Ray's not going to be like, oh, I won the CCL title, I won the COH title, yada yada yada. Some people probably already know that, and other people know he's done something. He just comes in there, he does his thing, and he might say like, oh, he's done a lot, but it doesn't mean he has to tell you all that he did.
I think it brings like a legitimacy to a character though. Like you can use it to kind of like build your character to like show like you said, like you get the job done, like maybe provide like that you are a threat to be like a contender or something like that. Like it's not like a like Anthony said, like you're not trying to make yourself just sound cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, see, this is where also from doing commentary on my show and stuff, and just being a fan of like commentary in general, this is where commentary should be like stressed stuff. That's what commentary can say for people.
Yep.
That way, it's not just a guy looking like a jackass putting himself over. The commentary is supposed to put the guys over. And, if the commentary, like, that's why, like, when we did, like, the Fastlane commentary, I felt like we did a good job with the Raging Scorpions debut. Like a lot of people, like, I remember, like, the polls went up, and a lot of people were, like, immediately, like, thinking, like, oh, because, like, there's people in ECW who don't know who, like, Ray Geddes and Shawn Walsh are. I feel like, oh, SGS has got this in the bank. And I'm like, people just don't know, like, Ray Geddes is a big fucking deal in CAW. It sounds kind of funny to say that, but I mean, like, really, like, Ray is Ray, and if you followed his character, I mean, like, I didn't know who Ray was until I watched COH a little bit more thoroughly. Like, I seen his, like, I guess you could say debut at Ultimate Glory 4, and, he came, stormed that main event, whooped ass, and did his thing, and then had that big feud after that, and I was like, this guy's really cool. I like
Can I
that.
just put him over for a second? I think he's fucking... His character fucking rules. I'll just leave it at that.
Ray,
I think I pop for it.
Ray's great. Ray's awesome, and Ray is legit in the fact that, like, okay, like when I come in, and yes, I'm gonna take this chance to bury myself. Besides maybe one or two guys, maybe no one's. I don't think people are gonna go like, oh, geez, I was thinking of checking on ECW. Now that Shawn Walsh is here, now I have to watch. Maybe one or two might, but I don't think everyone's going to go right out of their way to do that for me. Whereas Ray, if Ray goes somewhere, like Redneck Nation, it's not just the character.
It's damn real.
There is a real fan base. Like, it is a show-level fan base. It's not CCL fans, it's not COH fans, it's not any other, it's just Ray's fans. And they will go and they will look. Ray is, and Ray has every right because Ray backs it up. So, watch
He's
out,
a fucking
guys.
enigma.
Why do you think I want him on my team? I just like, oh yeah, Ray, you do your thing.
Bro.
You do your thing. I'll be right here. I'll collect the W's.
There you go.
Yeah. Now, with that, this is a nice transition here. With guys like me, Ray, Blair, Phoenix, all these different guys that came in, for you guys, as being ECW guys, first of all, to see us come in, was it kind of like, oh wow, cool, or was it like, who are these guys coming in? And I'm not saying that to make you like, because that's a real possibility. I know a lot of people were like that when Ray came into COH. A lot of people were like, oh, who's this guy? Who's this CCL guy coming into COH? And then Ray won everyone over. But, well, what was the vibe when, like, ECW started to kind of expand to, like, these guys from other places?
I'd probably say, like, it was pretty well accepted. I mean, like, I know that, like, I threw, like, promos that, like, like, you guys are in here to take people's spots and stuff like that, but, like, it was a general accepted thing. Like, I don't think anybody complained about anything. Like, it was just, look, man, like, if you guys come in, you guys can actually help us get more views. Like, you guys are actually going to help us bring in more viewers than anything.
Absolutely. So I did notice that. I also kind of liked, you guys don't know how much of a kick, for at least me and Ray, because me and Ray would talk about it, anytime, like when we first came in, and everyone would be then like our names would get dropped. Like, oh man, that it was just kind of funny to us. It was really cool. And then it gave us our whole "taking spots" catchphrase.
I was
You-
just first
you-
when you
you
guys
guys
came in.
got
I was
us
like, all
over.
right, who the yeah. When you guys first came in, I was like, okay, who the fuck are these nerds? No, but no. When you guys came in, I heard that you guys are big deals, and I was like, and then I went and checked it out myself, and I'm like, it's good to have somebody here that knows what they're doing. Like, I don't mind teaching or taking guys and being like, yeah, work on this promo, work on that promo. That's why we have the developmental chat, and then like that, and I'm in there. So I mean, it's why we're all in there to like help and stuff. But it was cool to have I looked at it as just having like experience. It's kind of like when AJ Styles made the jump from New Japan to WWE.
Mhm.
You're having a guy that's been around, knows what he's doing. He's gonna come in, and it just makes your product better. So when you guys came in, I was just like, it's just gonna make our show a lot better.
Ryan,
more experience guys to work with.
right? Ryan, did you now for you? Because I mean, that's cool that you guys were like accepting. I appreciate it, and I'm sure all the Ray and Blair and they appreciate that as well. But Ryan, did you think maybe not these guys, but like anyone on the roster was going to take it as like I don't know if really an insult, but like who are these guys coming in? Because I mean it was a new move for ECW for like the rosters you guys have. Like it's just like these are ECW guys.
Yeah, actually, I mean, like it goes back to something Anthony said earlier. There's and it's probably like this everywhere because I mean I've seen it in COH and stuff too, like looking at promos in COH. When then a new guy posts a promo is wanting to join or whatever. But and there's definitely that it was almost like an insider mentality at times where it's like who is this guy? Like why is this guy coming in? Why does he think he's what he is? And for a while we conditioned ourselves that way. We had this kind of like tough crowd thing, like you said, I don't care that you've won a championship somewhere else. Why does that matter here? And we still kind of have that to an extent, but I actively tell people like the moment that the Caleb Blair name became a possibility in ECW, I started telling people I was like, I'm gonna bring some people in for some other shows that I've kind of wanted to get on here for a while. I'm excited to get these guys in, and I'm gonna get this ball rolling. And I was like, I don't care how you guys treat them. I said, I'm going to treat them as if they're coming in as a superstar acquisition for us, because that was the thing. We have homegrown guys. We have all homegrown guys, but we needed that. Like you said, AJ Styles to WWE type thing, and that's why in the Royal Rumble you be like, holy shit, Shawn Walsh is in the Royal Rumble. Like, Caleb Blair shows up and interrupts a world title match. What the fuck's going on? Like, we can have these big things like this, and maybe somebody who knows that name from another show will be like, well, they did what in ECW? The Royal Rumble debut is not a huge thing for everybody, but I mean, it still says what it is for the show. And I'm sorry, I wanted to break that barrier down a little bit. Like I said, not everybody. If a guy wants to join ECW, like I said, if a guy wants to join ECW, and honestly I haven't heard of them before, they're going to go to NXT. That's just the way it is. But I've made exceptions for people that I know from watching them on other shows for a while myself now. That I wanted to kind of spice things up on the upper level of the roster, and like to me, like Matt said, I think it's worked. Honestly, I think it's been great. I think it's opening up possibilities to create bigger, prolific feuds. Not just like NXT's doing its own thing, but now I can like really expand the other side of the spectrum of my roster now too, and that's what I'm excited for. And I'm glad that you guys can come in and be excited and want to do more, and that's just a big plus for me all the way around.
But I mean, I also seem to think it kind of works in an inverse way as well. Like with you guys coming in, like it helps us expand out. So like, like how you come to me, Shawn, and talked about me joining AWF, like stuff like that kind of helps us as well, because we can actually like do what you guys are doing to us. We can branch out into other shows as well.
That's true. I think that's, for me, that's the coolest thing, because you guys don't even know, because I don't want to feed your guys' egos. Whenever I'm in like Skype calls with people, whenever I'm talking to people in messages, whenever I'm talking to Travis or any of the other guys who run shows. I'm like, you guys should check out ECW. Some guys here, and maybe me or Ray or whoever being in the show is like, oh, I'll go look, and then you're like, oh wow, look, it's Matt Black, it's AJ Hawkx. This guy's
It's
pretty
Matt
cool.
Black.
Well, I mean, you just had Aether debut in COH too.
That's true. Yeah,
Did Aether debut in COH?
yeah. He
Well, I know Blair was recording the show.
No, he debuted in
They
PCW.
jobbed him the
Well-
fuck out, didn't they? No, I'm just kidding.
He was in PCW. I don't know. I mean, he could have went to COH. I know, like, he was in like YWF, if that's still going on or not. But I know I know, but like he is in PCW.
Or was it PCW? It was one of the.
he was
one
in
of
P-
them. I don't know.
he did definitely debut in PCW.
So that's what it was. Sorry,
Shawn-
I was wrong on that one.
Shawn Nice is supposed to be debuting in PCW too.
Mhm.
I mean, it's cool, like, you know, but that's the thing. I think as like, you know, again, like as the owner role of Call, like you kind of see the bigger picture of things sometimes, and it's like I keep telling people repeatedly in ECW to, like, you know, ask a friend or something, because like it's a lot like, I guess, the business in a way that you have to like constantly like be like stocking your talent pool with new stars or new people or whatever, because you know. I've heard this on the Shawn Walsh show before, you know, like some older episodes that I listened to, that, you know, a lot, even, it was actually even on the last episode with AJ Young, you guys talking about how, like, you know, like RCW, a lot of the guys in RCW are like YWF or COH guys. And that's not a knock against them, because I watched the first episode of RCW, and it made me want to definitely watch the second episode. I really liked it. But I mean, you know, but that also goes back on the ECW, where I don't just want ECW to be a niche show where it's just my guys, people that I know, because it doesn't grow that way. And people will eventually, you know, without spoiling anything coming up, there's probably like 3 or 4 people leaving ECW sooner than people realize, and it's going to leave a lot of big spots open. And I'm trying to plug those spots and, you know, work on, you know, filling some pretty big shoes moving forward. And I need to branch out, you know. So I mean, if me, you know, introducing Aether Adamus to a new audience brings more people in, you know, it's cool. I would love to see Aether on as many shows as possible, just because, I don't know, he's probably the nicest guy, one of the nicest guys in the world. Number 2, his character is incredible. But I mean, you know, it goes for anybody. I mean, like I love, and I talked to you about this extensively, Shawn, about, you know, the commercials thing, about how that Dropbox has been set up for the commercial stuff now. That is the big thing, man. Like that cross promotional mingling thing, as like, you know, that's the essence of it. That's where this thrives, and it dies if it doesn't thrive. And I think so. You know, if like something like COH is like looking for new people, or AWF needs some new people, whatever. Like, you know, yeah, reach out and just check out another show. I mean, you know, you don't have to check out the whole show or whatever. I mean, even if you just message somebody, like the owner or somebody, hey, you know, who's like a guy that, you know, you can depend on when you need a good promo, or, you know, a guy who's creative. You know, I'd gladly throw like 5 or 6 names at somebody. I know you messaged me about SMC initially, you know, and you got him under a different name in AWF, and that's cool. I mean, that stuff like that's great. That's the kind of stuff that, again, like I look for. I mean, I'm all, like I said, you see me like the call shoot page and stuff too. I just try to like get people talking about it in general, because without that conversation, you know, like what are we even doing?
Absolutely, yeah. I'm gonna I take the part of jumping in and trying to see what I can get, and if me having whoever on an AWF or PCW, when I send them down to Blair to go use them, have fun with them. No, he picks them. Then that's cool. Whether it be like he's down there, which I think he's going to tear it up. Whether it be like Matt Black, or I think it's fantastic with SMC that I brought him in. It's like, it's just something different, you know. It's like that guys are like, this is pretty cool, because you can only have like so many the Goonies, you know. And we're like, oh, well, I've seen him everywhere. Oh, but this other guy, where did he come from? And then you see there's like 20, 30, 40 of them, you know? That's cool. Now, I gotta ask you guys this. Could be controversial, or you guys could be extremely nice. Don't be afraid to be controversial if you think this. For us that came in, for you guys who win, and we're in NXT, and then you got to where you are, you improved, you got better, and you earned where you're at. When, regardless of whatever me or whoever else did elsewhere, when we come in, even just a little bit, does it bother you, or do you think it bothers anyone in ECW that we kind of just come in and skip NXT?
Nah.
No?
Yeah, I'd say nah.
Oh, see, it's very now.
I know you're hoping for one of us to go get back in the minor leagues, you fucking puss. But
Caleb
no,
Blair, how about you go to PCW, you rookie?
No,
not PCW, NXT.
But no, I mean, I don't mind it solely because, like me and Ryan were talking about earlier, it's like I had said it to. It's kind of like when AJ Styles showed up at the Royal Rumble, everybody was fucking jonesed about it, and it was like, oh my god, that's kind of what it is. You guys have made a name, and you're our big, the hottest free agent in professional wrestling right now. You guys were our hot free agents, so I definitely mind with you guys coming up to the main and getting to do your thing.
Well, let me add this though: is there exceptions? Because like AJ Styles, which is a perfect example, WWE has all these guys. They go to see even guys like Finn Balor, Shinsuke Nakamura, Samoa Joe, guys who you ask most people will tell you honestly, they probably have no business being in NXT. They could go up in Raw and SmackDown the next tomorrow, or never had to spend a day in NXT, and would have been fine because of all their experience. But because of the system that they had, they sent them down there, and for some of them, it's been very beneficial for them. But AJ was that exception. AJ Styles was like, no, this guy's got to go right up there. And the same with Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. Do you think there is a... I don't know if it's a limit or there's a line to where all right, it would be like, all right, we're getting too many here, just skipping out on NXT. Or is this something that Ryan should look at, or do you think Ryan will make good judgment? Or
I don't think you can necessarily say that because you have people like Brandon Wolf that have been around he went to NXT, and he went straight to NXT. So I mean, even in that instance, it's not like everybody that comes back in or comes that we bring in necessarily goes straight to the main roster. There's still other people that go to NXT and stuff.
Oh yeah,
it's a conditional thing. Okay, Brandon Wolf is a prime exception because Brandon Wolf, as was covered on here before, Brandon Wolf was in ECW originally, and he was originally in NXT. When Brandon Wolf came back, he himself was like, I have to go to NXT. He's like, I want to work with the young guys in NXT, and I was like, okay, I'm totally fine with that. J-Crack, I gave J-Crack the option. I said, would you rather go to NXT or Raw? Because I mean, again, it could have, maybe it could have been adding too much to one side of the scale. He thought about it for a while, and he wanted to go to Raw, and that's cool. If he would have said NXT, that would have been cool too, But I mean, there's a little bit. As I said, it's just conditional on the person. I mean, Walter Scott comes in, and Walter Scott's like, yeah, I've done EFED before, but I haven't done call. And I'm like, that's cool, I'm sure you've got a little bit of experience in writing, this or that, but I stuck him on NXT, and it's been his bread and butter, So it's just conditional on the person. I don't think it. There's a whole lot more to it than that for me, at least.
All right. It's very, very interesting. I think that's cool. Now enough about me and the other old guys. Let's talk about WrestleMania 2. This is the big event.
Yeah.
It's coming up. By the way, before we go into it, for all of you listening, however many of you are listening to this, I expect all of you, yes, all of you, to watch WrestleMania 2. And if you don't, I will somehow find out. Don't ask me how. I know people.
He's gonna find out, and I'm gonna come, and I'm gonna unsafely drop you on your fucking head.
Apron bumps for everybody.
Yup. You know it's the hardest part of the ring, right?
Oh, no, I didn't know that. I never heard about that. No, but seriously, you guys should actually all check it out. I think, especially for someone who has never seen ECW before, or has kind of maybe heard about ECW. If you're looking for like the show to like, which show do I start with? And unless you want to go back and watch, go right ahead. That's pretty cool too. But if you want to like start, I think that like that's perfect. Like this is the perfect time. It was like coming around WrestleMania season. We're gonna get WrestleMania with the card that's being built up. I think it's the perfect start point. Now, first for Ryan, this build, this road to WrestleMania, if you will. Talk about going from, I'm pretty sure the Rumble, which was a breakout show for ECW, if I got to say.
I think so.
All the way to Mania.
The Royal Rumble was very good. A lot better than it could have been originally. It was one of the benefits of moving from 2K15 to 2K16 because I just no telling how bad it probably could have been on 2K15. That would have definitely been a hindrance then. But the Royal Rumble, in my mind, definitely did what it needed to set things in motion for WrestleMania. I think there was a couple matches for WrestleMania by the time we were even getting to the Royal Rumble, maybe coming off like TLC and stuff, that people kind of had an idea that like, okay, these guys might continue this feud, this could happen. But after the Royal Rumble, a lot of those predictions, when I would ask people, so what matches do you think are going to happen at WrestleMania? You know, I always try to like gauge where people are at, and that kind of sometimes like changes something that happens. You know, like I like to keep people guessing. You know, a lot of people foresaw, like for instance, like Adamus Galaxy 700 block continuing through WrestleMania, and then lo and behold, here comes Royal Rumble, and man, like the reception to what happened in that match, like it went over like way better than expected. Like I thought it was gonna be good to begin with, but I mean it paid dividends like all around. So it was a good setup.
Curveball right there, man.
Now, for you guys, I mean, we kind of talked about Matt's like road here, so I think we got the feel there. For AJ Hawkx, how has this road? I mean, you're going in as the champion now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is it what's it like now? Because you're going to be the guy going in, so you know everyone's. Do you think what you got going on is it what you think WrestleMania deserves?
What I got going on? Well, first of all, I mean, I definitely got it going on.
I hope
And
so. I swear, if you're going to be like, I don't know.
WrestleMania is hashtag blessed to have me on the card and going in as the champion. But
Yes, good answer.
You got to remember, this is the guy that originally wanted to headline WrestleMania with a match versus himself.
Oh yeah. I don't know if you saw that promo, but I just said that nobody was worthy, and I was gonna just have a match against myself, and it would still be the best match on the card because I am money.
And then ECW is going to build a statue in your honor.
Oh, yeah.
See, that would have been nice, but I guess ECW had to be like, oh no, you have to fight Azrael. You can't fight yourself.
Yeah.
Taking away the dream match.
Yeah. Right. One day they'll realize the money they could have made on that. But and all the views and the sponsorships and all that other good stuff. But no, it's exactly what I think is going to make a good main event. Obviously, we've both said our pieces about each other. Go out there and murder one another, metaphorically and realistically. Let's be real. But it's gonna be a crazy main event. Whoever walks out with the belt will absolutely be deserving of it. Me. And I don't know. I just feel like it'll be a good match to top off an already abso-fucking-lutely outstanding card.
Now, for all you guys, I mean, I don't know, dude. AJ might say his own match.
I'll try not to be biased on this next question.
Which match, besides your own, really you think? What were you looking forward to seeing the most? Because I gotta say, it's looking pretty stacked, and it's a lot of matches. Obviously, Matt Black's the NXT Triple Threat match with Dick Nicholas and Lewis Rivers. I think that's pretty cool, and I think
that's the one. I was gonna say that's the one I'm looking forward to because I like seeing all the. I like seeing the way the NXT develops because NXT holds a special place in my heart, being as I started as a little baby and got groomed into a man there. But so that's the match I'm definitely looking forward to if we're not talking about our own matches, obviously, because it's three great guys, that have come a long way. And it's going to be a barn burner. Yeah. I can already tell because we always end up delivering at the pay-per-views. So
that's where you got to deliver. I think that this match is really going to deliver. Was Walter Scott and Shawn the hardcore title match? I think that's going to be really cool. I really like the work they put in. These guys kind of they gel with each other pretty well. So
yes.
I'm excited about that.
That's definitely another one I'll be watching too because I was a hardcore belt is another thing that's near and dear to my heart, being as I was one of the more prolific champions of the hardcore variety.
Yeah, three time.
Can you dig it?
Sucker. No.
Except instead of sucker, I go, can you dig it, fucker?
See, I don't know, man. For me, you got you have Judge and SMC's match, like the Hell in the Cell match with them is
Judge and Giacchino's match.
Here you go, Judge and Giacchino. I'm sorry, man.
You're good.
But,
you're getting buried. That's it. He's jobbing out, putting string bean in your match. It's going over.
No, but like that one, man, like just the past couple pay-per-views that they have fought at, it's just really built the story up with that one, man. But I mean, even on the flip side, it's one of those things that when me and Ryan were talking about, and even with Walt and stuff like that, it's with this card being so stacked, man, it's kind of hard to actually, for us, even everybody that's actually in ECW, to pick one match that they're super looking forward to. Because even then, you still have
we got Aether and Ed Gucci still as well.
Yeah, I'll say you have Gucci and Aether. You have Gambit and Bishop with going against the Galaxy. I feel like that's probably going to be one of the sleeper matches right there on the card.
There's a lot of good matches. I really think because it's WrestleMania. WrestleMania should be your all-star show. It's where you bring out the big matches, the big moments, and I think it's Ryan and whoever else was in the process really made the right choices here with this card, the right matchups. I think that's where, for a WrestleMania show, again, that's why I said earlier, if you're someone who's looking to check out ECW, this is the show to check out. Now,
and we also finally get the answer to the question with what is the Crucible with RPJ and Masako Hojo in their Hell in the Cell match as well.
That's true.
No, I think sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was going to ask you what you thought because I'm really interested. What do you think? I mean, this is your baby here.
Yeah, definitely. First of all, I'll go back to where we started at with AJ Hawkx and Ryan Asriel. Okay, they had a career fork in the road type matchup at the first WrestleMania. AJ Hawkx proposed he and Riddle were the NXT Tag Champions. Asriel and the Paragon were the ECW World Tag Team Champions at the time. Asriel and Hawkx had feuded over the hardcore title back and forth. It got really heated. You can see these two guys were becoming this big deal at that point in time. Well, this proposition got thrown out by AJ Hawkx to unify the belts, but on top of that, there's an extra stipulation added in where it was an elimination match, and the last person eliminated from the losing team was fired, and their teams, because that person was fired, would never banned again. Well, if you've seen the trailers, if you even went back far enough, or you were around back then, the Illuminati, what was left of the Illuminati, which was Azrael and Paragon at the time. They lost. Riddlin got this big pin over it. First person eliminated, runs back out and basically beats down Azrael, puts him through a table. So Azrael's out of the match, kind of inadvertently there. Well, after that, Azrael, he turned on Paragon, and they've been seen again after that. So it was like they had this big moment, you could already tell there was like this, like, it was kind of like there's the feud done between Azrael and Hawkx. We don't really know because they kind of went separate ways after that. Azrael went on to still have his hardcore title thing. AJ Hawkx was kind of lost in the shuffle there for a little bit after they lost the belts originally to the Atomos Galaxy. But anyway, so things progressed. They had a couple more matches. And then, it was like, okay, they had a Hell in a Cell match at Hell in a Cell 2. And it was like, maybe that was like the end of this AJ Hawkx, Ryan Azrael thing, right? But going all the way back to the first WrestleMania, you have to look at it like this, like, who knew that Ryan Azrael and AJ Hawkx would be in the main event at that point in time? Like, that was, to me, was like the biggest thing. And then just looking at the entire, like, the scope of WrestleMania 2 without, like, singling out, like, a specific match that, obviously, I booked it. I know what's going to happen. So I can't say I won't have a favorite match. But looking at the entire scope of it, I keep trying to kind of drive this idea home of what WrestleMania means to me is that it's like one door closing and one door opening. Like, a lot of things are blowing off that have been encompassed through, like, that second season of ECW. But a lot of things are starting brand new, and there's going to be some pretty big things. There's going to be some really cool things, and it's just, like I said, I can't say a whole lot without spoiling it, but I mean, there's going to be definitely some things people are going to be talking about and wondering how it kind of affects things moving forward. And then, of course, well, we have 2K17, pretty well all set to go. I've just got like a couple little things like the intro videos for shows and stuff I got to finish doing. Those answers will be coming sooner than people realize. So it's exciting for that.
Absolutely. Now, all right, here's going to be an interesting one. When it comes to guys in ECW who get talked about a lot, we talk about how, Matt as of late gets talked about a lot. In your guys' opinion, I'm asking for one name, but if you do the best you can with it, if you can't, who is the most underrated guy in ECW?
I have mine, but I'll let them go first.
All right.
Underrated.
I'll do like a long-term one and a short-term one. I'll put it that way. I can probably do that.
Okay.
Ooh. So you'll get a twofer for him.
He's an overachiever right there.
Yeah, getting that extra credit, boys. Underrated. Aramis, Tiger Baraki. Like, yeah, he's been in the spotlight a lot more recently, but I definitely think a lot of people underestimate him. And I've never really seen anything from him to where I didn't think that he delivered or not. He's one of my more favorite of the younger generation of ECW to watch and see develop. I think I'm a little biased because I had a little mini feud with him, but he's definitely one of my favorites, and I still think that he's got a lot more to prove to everybody, and that he'll finally get a chance soon.
All right, Matt, who do you think? Who's the name that comes to mind?
Me.
I don't know if you'd call them necessarily underrated. But I'm probably going to have to go with you on two of these ones, too. I'm probably going to have to go with, for me, I'm probably going to have to say Bishop and Lewis Rivers are, like, the two that always come.
Yes.
Because Lewis, to me, is probably, by definition, the best person at cutting promos on a heel level. Like, there is nothing. Dude, like, Lewis just makes me want to hate him. Like, that's all it is. Like, every time he promos, he just, like, he will say something, and it's just like, man, you want to hate him, but it's just so good, you cannot, like, you just have to, like, sit there and enjoy every bit of way. Like how Anthony said earlier, like, Bishop, he's so calm, so collected, and then 1 minute, like, he says something, and you just are like, damn, like, shit just, like, got real all of a sudden. But I would probably say that those are two, for me, that I would consider be like really underrated out there. And when for me, I wouldn't even necessarily consider them as I guess under the radar. I guess.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, overachiever, it's your go.
All right, Ryan.
Okay, so
who you burying now?
No, yeah. Everybody that I'm not naming is getting buried. No, just kidding.
Damn.
The first
title
one,
shots.
the first one because and I mean and he hasn't always had a promo ready, but when he does promo, he is consistently good. Is BTB. BTB when he's on his game is like world championship on his game, 100% of the time. He came out of the gate as the first ever Intercontinental Champion and made the title what it was. Like, he was fantastic. You know,
Was he the first Grand Slam champion we had too?
No, he was the first NXT Grand Slam.
NXT Grand Slam champion.
Yes, if you want to get technical on that, yeah. He held all, yeah. He says it in his promos a lot, you know. But I mean, I love, and he keeps adding these new dimensions to the character. Like, man, like he's even though he's not on WrestleMania, like he's a guy just to consistently watch because he's entertaining. He can play a good babyface and a good heel. You know, so when he's on his bicycle and he's pedaling, man, it's full out of steam. It's great. On the other side of that, and this is to more of the NXT ECW guys in general, because a lot of the guys I just don't think can distinguish kayfabe and personality. But Lewis Rivers is by far the most underrated person in NXT, because Lewis Rivers, like Matt said, the character is by far one of the best heels I've seen in ECW. The rich guy heel thing can be done right or wrong, and when it's done wrong, it's awful. But he does it to where, like, it's him. It's like all him. It's just the way he talks, the way he like smiles on camera, like everything, the way he paces himself with his words, like he does. He sounds like a piece of shit. Like, you just want to hate the guy. Like really, like I was like, remember like the first couple promos.
I mean, you ain't lying.
I'm like this guy. You know, like if this was him and this was like a wrestling program that I was legit watching, I would be booing the hell out of that guy and like throwing my soda at him if I was sitting front row. But
Put it like this. He makes me playing a heel hard because he's so good at it.
Yes.
Yeah. There'll be times I'm watching one of his promos and I'm like, fuck, man, why you gotta make me look so bad?
But like,
I'm supposed to be the top bad guy here, and you make me look bad.
But like, the thing is about Lewis is that Lewis, this is his first title shot at WrestleMania. I haven't given him a title shot to this point. He's like, you know, been working his way slowly up the backside of it. He's been in that feud with Dick Nicholas, but he never fought him for the title. And you know, on the side of that is why I bring up the kayfabe and the personality thing is that all these dudes who are in that messenger group chat who get really salty when he promos on them, those guys don't understand that he's actually a really nice guy and he's just bluffing them with his character. And it's getting his character over because he's bluffing them. It's like how Ray can constantly be in character with people. Like, people like, some people, I don't know, they just can't distinguish it, I guess. But I mean, like, it's just him honing his character more. So when he does cut an actual promo, it just blows the roof off every time. Lewis Rivers has not had a bad promo, and he's had some pretty long ones. I mean, I'm guilty of long promos too, but I mean, even
there
like,
you are, Mr. 9-minute promo.
Definitely. When he's cut like a 4, 5, 6 minute promo, honestly, I've watched like every minute of it, and like, this guy is he's got me hooked. I want to do more with him. I want to, you know, find ways to continually make people hate his character more.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm sure.
What about you, Mr. Shawn? You've been with us long enough. Who do you think is underrated in our locker room? Let's flip it on you for a second. I wanna see what your opinion.
We're asking the questions now.
Oh.
When you think you got all the answers, I change the questions.
I mean, I agree with you guys on Lewis. I didn't actually. Maybe it's just because of when I came in. I didn't think, because I consider him to be one of like the more top echelon guys in regards to like where he stands out. Because like I like him. I think he's pretty cool, and no offense to Matt. If it was just one-on-one, I think could have been a good match.
What?
So I mean I like Lewis, but I like a lot of the guys. I like Ed Gucci. I think he cracks me up. Okay, he makes me laugh, which I need that sometimes. Uh, and then in regards, I guess that's where
He's trying not to upset anyone now.
Yeah.
I'm a baby face.
He's so worried that one of us is gonna get pissed off and beg Ryan to bury him or something. Come on, you can be out with us. Come on.
No. I don't want to go and like pick some of the bigger names.
Shawn Nice is gonna fucking cut a shoot on him or something if he doesn't say. Like,
Hey, Shawn Nice is someone who's very good. In fact, I'll say this: when I first watched ECW, he was the first ECW promo I've ever seen. And I liked it. I was like, oh wow, never heard of this guy, but pretty cool. And I've always liked Matt from the beginning. I think I even said that like when I first showed up in the chat. Like I was just like, oh yeah, Matt's pretty cool. So I went in there and gave him the rub right away.
I got put over from day one.
Look at you, buddy.
Starting to regret that.
Yeah, you gave him a big head about it.
I also like Walter. Like I mean, not just his character. I think he's just a cool guy. And I've talked to. I also love. Again, this is stuff that people don't get to see. When the guys come into the chat, and he just
Walter gets you. He
comes right at you, and it's so good. It's like he's not. And some of the guys take it as like him being mean. Like he's not being mean. He's just going and just doing his thing. But he does it in a way that it just makes me laugh every time. Like I gotta, whenever it happens, I gotta like stop what I'm doing and I gotta pay attention. Then he's
that one sick burn he had on Matt the other day about being the fallen one. How can you rise being fallen one? That cracked me up. Sorry to throw you under the butt there, Matt, but that shit made me laugh.
Well, like that's the thing with Walter is like Walter actually helped me develop the Matt Black character more from when I first started, because when I first came in, I had no idea what this was. So like, as far as the gimmick, the idea, the character, it wasn't all complete yet. Walter really helped when he started asking all the questions. Really helped me piece together how I was going to go about it, which is a very underrated thing. So like when the new people come in and they like Walter gets on them, starts like not berating them, but like, you know, he really asks the questions and digs in on them. But like it's kind of the thing, like you can either take it as a good thing or you can take it as a bad way. But like the people that take it as a good way come out normally with pretty decent characters and they have a good idea and they're already kind of set up for success more than a failure.
Yeah, exactly. You come out on the other end looking a lot better because then you have everything figured out. Because I think a lot of people don't go into shows and think of some of the things like that. Like they seem like the common questions that you should have the answers to, but not really everyone does. And that's not even really insulting everyone, because sometimes it's just like, I don't know. I didn't really think about that. I just thought I was the best.
Yeah, my favorite,
so damn good.
My favorite question that I hit every new guy with, and I encourage like anybody who's like bringing somebody new into their show who has a show to do, is when a new guy comes in, especially if they come in like on that hot streak and they're gonna give you like, oh, make me your champion spiel. My first question to them is like, okay, you're booked in your first match, right? What happens if you lose?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Trust me, I know.
If they can get past that question, they're good. Like, because a lot of people, they expect to come in and get that tidal wave, of momentum off their first match. And I even tell people all the time, I look for people who know how to lose, man. It's harder to cut that endearing promo when you lost and win somebody over, or if you're the heel, to cut that petty, scathing promo because you lost. Lewis Rivers, his first match, was off of the cool new feature in 2K16 where the referee doesn't see the rope break. And he ran wild with it for like a month straight. Just like berating these referees who really are non-existent, because referees don't really matter in CAW. But like he made a big fucking deal about it, man. Like his hashtag blind band zebras was his thing. And that was what set him in motion forward. And it wasn't like he wasn't like, it wasn't like this, like, oh yeah, he didn't beat me, he got lucky. I mean, it was like he had like it just like rolling, like he had that kind of stuff. Like anybody could have said anything in that instance, but he was ready to go with it. And he wasn't like coming to me like outside of character and being like, dude, that was such a shitty finish. What the fuck, man? That's stupid. You could have booked that better. He was like okay with it. He was rolling with it. He was like, let me do something else with it, And I just rewarded him with it. I haven't beat up the champion, or Dick Nicholas was champion yet, but had him beat up Dick Nicholas like a week later, like, hurt him and stuff. And it set them in motion for a cool rivalry. And, Matt came in, and lost, I think, like 2 matches early. Like the first match.
I feel like I had like the worst win-loss record in NXT, man.
But
especially with Azrael, man. I only won once, man. I fought him like
but
got sent to the hospital like 300.
You won once, but you pinned Ryan Azrael clean when he hasn't been pinned by anybody in months. I mean, and it was like a couple weeks before the Royal Rumble, and everybody knows what happened at the Royal Rumble. So I mean, like you had that lasting impression going in. Like I think it set up that, not to get off on another tangent here, but that kind of put a little bit of a doubt going in that maybe even Matt Black's music hit at the Royal Rumble, maybe he could have eliminated Ryan Azrael. There was a potential for it. But, it's things like that. Like that's why and that's what Walter does really well. I try to get people to think outside the box with that creativity stuff because, like you said, you don't want all your promos to be one-dimensional. You don't want to be like a one-trick pony. And wrestling, anything creativity-wise, it's context, man. It's taking context and applying it in these different abstract ways. And that's the fun of it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Now, here comes the fun part. This is my favorite part of the show. Okay? So, name association. Now, before we start, because I know it's going to be confusing at first, this is how we're going, like, obviously, I'm going to throw a name, give a few words, maybe a sentence, whatever you got to do. We're going to go Matt, AJ, and then Ryan. Just so...
AJ, I go first.
So...
First is the worst, second's the best. And third is the one that just turned 30 today.
That's true.
Very true.
So, that's what we're going to do. We're going to start it off with Aether.
Jesus. Crazy, man. His promos are always freaking insane. That's you, AJ. That's you now.
Yeah, it's my turn now.
That's why I said the order
that little
beforehand.
bit of radio silence. Aether. You said crazy, but wild. I mean, the dude, he does stuff on a whim, and it always ends up working out. Like, the guy's got, like, blonde dreadlocks now. And he didn't have that before. And yeah, he didn't have that before, but like he just goes out on a whim. The dude will make videos of himself cannonballing and like flipping into snow with like his underwear on because he can. So like he's just wild.
For me, Aether in a word is like the ideal candidate. Like I
That's
said, like
2 words.
Well, I know it's gonna be more than 2 words, but to summarize it, I'll keep it short. If there was like a top 5, top 10 list or whatever of people who I was gonna send to another show, he's probably like top 3 to 5 easily. Because when he came into ECW, I had no idea who he was. He didn't know who anybody else was in ECW. He messaged the page. He didn't message me personally. He messaged our page on Facebook. I was like, "Can I join?" From the first time he came in. He like was one of those people. He just blew me away from the first time. He was like cutting these like video promos that were different than everybody else from the beginning. His character was different from the beginning, and he is just such a great baby face, like personality, character wise, and human being wise. Like he's always entertaining. He's always fun, and I mean, like I said, he's the kind of guy that I would, if you were looking for like a kind of guy that you want on your show, he's the guy. I would suggest more people model themselves after him.
Such a sweetheart.
All right. Shawn Nice, hardcore champion. Would have been it would have been cool if he was one of the guys I was hoping also to get on here too. Him and Walter as well, because I think those guys are really cool.
I'd probably say with Shawn Nice, probably potential, man. Like as much as it is with him, it's like his promos just keep getting better and better. It's like his character, just watching him the matches, everything that he does with that, just like I said, just keeps getting better. So like potential would probably be the thing that I would say with him.
Shawn Nice would be improved because I feel he's come such a long way, and he is definitely. I mean, from the first time I've ever like seen him, whether it was like having a feud, having this, having that, just the amount of improvement that he's gone through and development and all that has been amazing. So to like see how he's vastly improved since when I first came in and from his very first couple shows, it's been awesome.
All right.
Yeah, I'll definitely echo that. If not like improvement or potential, it's like a faith, I guess, because Shawn, if anybody's been in ECW for the long haul, Anthony was there through part of it. A little funny story is Shawn was almost out of ECW at one point. He was one of those people who at one point was kind of fed up with the way I guess I was not doing a very good job of booking his character or something, and it was actually Jeremy who talked him back into staying. And there's a couple other things that were tied into it. There was another guy who was causing problems that had convinced him to leave or something. But anyway, Shawn stayed, and that was when I told Shawn, I said, I want to kind of reboot you a little bit, make you the NXT champion. He listened to me. He did what I asked, and that's when his character started to take off. And since, like, he's become, like you said, he's one of the first guys you used to watch. He caught your attention. A lot of other people, he's talking about him. That improvement's all him. He won the feud with AJ Hawkx. He got a great feud with AJ Hawkx. And
I had fun with it.
He did the work, man. They did the work. I just played the matches. That's why I said, like, it's all him. He listened. What was asked. He would come to me and say, hey, what do you want me to promo on this or that? Does this sound good? Yeah, that sounds great. And it was also all him. So I mean, like I said, definitely potential. He's got potential. A lot of people are talking, they would like to see him world champion eventually. I agree. His time's coming.
It's almost there. What about Dickless? Dick Nicholas.
Dickless.
Dang. Oh, the good guy, man. Like he's just the all-around good guy. That's pretty much all I can say with that. The good guy. That's it. Like he's just like the one of the guy, man. When you think of like everything that you want, like your babyface to be about a brand, that's Dick for me.
Mentor, because in the NXT developmental thing, chat thing we have going, like me, Ryan, some of the guys from the other show are there obviously to make sure everybody's on top of their game, or there if they need to ask questions, stuff like that. But he really took like a mentor, like after he became champion, he took that leadership role, that mentor role, and he ran with it, because he was like, man, I'll be here if you guys need to answer any questions. Or like when he'd see somebody cut a promo, he'd be like, okay, so this and that, and he'd give them pointers and stuff like that. At least that's what I noticed. So that was one of the things for me that stuck out about him.
I'll go with reliable. He actually, a lot of people may not know this, he actually was in ECW in the very beginning, and he was actually one of the original like admins of ECW in the beginning. And I had when I had a bunch of stuff needed typed up, like my roster, like this like guidelines type stuff. He typed all that up for me because I didn't have the means to at the time. I was just like doing a lot of the stuff from my phone. I didn't actually have like a laptop that I could do a lot of stuff on. And he took a lot of that responsibility off me and did it shamelessly and willingly. You know, he volunteered, and then he left and came back. And when he came back, he actually was the one who wanted to do the NXT chat this time. That was his idea, not mine. He was like, "You gotta talk to them and get their brains and all." I was like, "Dude, yeah, we used to do something like this, and we discontinued it, and yeah, I'm cool with it." So it was his idea, and he did a lot with it, but why he was reliable is because he was always ready with a promo on every occasion. Like, I didn't even never had to ask him for a promo. Always had it ready, and they were always good and always worth watching. And you know, I mean, I guess like, you know, on a very baseline level, I mean, that's really what you're looking for, and that's why you know, he would like felt like the championship was for him when he took the championship. So that's essentially it.
All right. The guy you kind of called the Roman Reigns, Jeremy McGlasson. I don't know if he'll like that very much, but hey, it is what it is.
I'd probably go with anti-hero. Would kind of be the kind of way I would go with it with him. Because like he's kind of iconic to ECW with whatever, like the whole history and everything. But like he's not necessarily like the guy you want to like, but you just sort of end up liking him because he is that guy. He just has all that history, the iconicness behind him.
He's not a good guy. He's not a bad guy. He's just the guy, right?
Exactly.
Jeremy McGlasson. There's a fun one for me. Jeremy McGlasson in a word. History, because me and him just have so much history. Like, one of the main things, the thing that led to one of my bigger pushes, my main feud with McNasty Bones, was the feud with Jeremy. And there's been a couple of times where me and Jeremy have just locked horns, and it's led to something iconic, or it's been, you know, iconic in itself. So I feel like he's one of the guys that I can hold responsible out of all the feuds that I've had that helped me go to a next level and elevate my game.
I'll go with the word franchise because it goes back to the Roman Reigns metaphor, analogy, or whatever. It goes back when that was going on. People actually were calling him like the John Cena of ECW, not because like he was like the guy, but because he was getting the push that people didn't want him to have. And yeah, it's whatever. But I mean, he owned it. He turned it into something that became him. And that has, in a sense, become the Caleb Blair rivalry. Is like that thing that we talked about earlier. You go in a non-storyline sense. That has become his thing. Is he is the ECW guy. And I mean, and when you look at the history of Jeremy McGlasson, he was the good guy who was trying to save ECW from the evils of the Illuminati and the evils of Ryan Paul Jones back in the day as a character. You know, and other than that, I mean, he's another reliable guy. He's always on his game with stuff. And like the other night, he like apologized to me for like not having a promo. I'm like, Jeremy, dude, you are like to a point where like you don't always have to have a promo to still be good. You know, I'm like, you've really got yourself over to that point now. And I mean, I feel like he's at a point now where I can take him almost any direction I want, and people are going to be interested in where he goes. Like, you know, he took the title off of him, and then Caleb Blair comes in, and it's really been interesting to see how we turned him as just as vicious of a villainous heel as we could, and now he's kind of being redeemed through this Caleb Blair storyline, and you know, it's all interwoven like to the history. It makes him, you know, one of the top 2, top 3 iconic names in ECW.
All right, and one last name. We're going with Azrael, Ryan Azrael. I oh my God, is it? By the way, dominant. By the way,
Like, just
he's a brute.
monster,
He's a brute.
murderer.
Homicidal.
Right,
Just pretty much any violence.
Like, genocidal. Jesus. I mean, let's put it this way. Like, if I had to say it, honestly, I would be grateful. Because, as we've already stated, like, he sort of cemented Matt Black as a mainstay in ECW with basically the rivalry that we had helped me put my name on the map. So for me, I'm grateful. Probably don't want to do that rivalry ever again sometime soon. And I still need to recuperate from just that one, but yeah, I gotta probably say grateful.
Legendary. Because mythological, like, in a way, like, just the aura that is around his character right now is something like godlike. I mean, let's be real. He comes through, demolishes people, and there's nothing left of him at the end. And standing up to him or beating him or being even in the same match as him, he comes to play every time. Like, his promos are always on point when they come out, be a text promo, video promo, whatever. They're always on point. Anytime something is thrown his way as a character, like we make that joke that he beats up our catering staff. Because of just how pissed off and enraged he is all the time. He takes it out on our catering staff. And he took it and he just fucking ran with it. It was a funny little joke that I thought was going to be fun. And he just took it and ran with it and made it like a legit thing. And now the catering staff is terrified of him, or the people in the back are terrified of him. Like, he's just, it's crazy.
I look at it two ways. Out of character, Ryan Ardinger is completely benevolent. He is he's one of the most like endearing guys. Like, and he doesn't care. Like, honestly, he would put anybody over. Like, he's like the entire the entire first year until he actually like became the quote unquote Leviathan. He was like this founding member of the Illuminati, but he was putting everybody over. He's put Jeremy McGlasson over in matches like more than probably anybody else. Like, he put like Shawn Nice over like in his first pay-per-view or something like that. He's put me over in matches. I was joking earlier about how like I always put everybody else over. He doesn't care. He'll put anybody over. But as far as Ryan Asriel character goes, there's only 3 words to describe him, and that's so fucking strong. And,
yes.
Who's watched ECW knows the reference, because that has become the character. And
fucking strong.
And it's amazing because like he's kind of like, I joke around, he's kind of like our Brock Lesnar in a way. Like, I hate to it's like draw a direct correlation to something like that, because he's not really like a Brock Lesnar. He doesn't look anything like Brock Lesnar, but I mean he has that aura, like Anthony said. He has that legendary aura. Like, it's like when that Ryan Asriel, he switched his music up to Hell Destroyer by the Cancer Bats. And when that fucking like guitar riff kicks in, shit's going down like every time his music hits. And people just love it. People he's almost a baby face right now because people love the character so much. And I never would have seen him as a baby face, and now I'm like, he's kind of like a baby face.
Everybody just wants to see the powerbomb to freaking AJ at Mania. That's it.
Yeah, everyone wants to see me die.
Definitely a selling point on the show.
Well, that about wraps that up. Thank you guys for coming on the show, talking about ECW. I think this is really cool. I mean, you guys know, because I talked to you guys, about a month ago. I've been looking forward to do something like this, and WrestleMania 2 is going to be fun. I think it has potential to be an eye opener for people. I hope I'm right. I'm usually right about these things. 'Cause I'm smart.
I hope so.
So yeah,
I
before
definitely hope so.
before we hit the hay, any last words before we head off?
Um, I just, I encourage anybody that's listening to this, who's gonna listen to this, definitely check out the WrestleMania show. Like I said, Ryan puts a lot of work into the booking. All the guys put a lot of work into the promos, into the characters, into everything, and I feel like we are definitely worth the time, especially with the effort put in. And I feel like anybody that does enjoy Caw is going to get a really nice treat from this show.
It's gonna be awesome. Just watch.
First of all, like I kind of pitched this like kind of halfway jokingly when I was like, "Hey, Shawn, let's do like a ECW panel." So I want to say thanks for like number one running with it, and number two like making it centered around WrestleMania because like that kind of caught me off guard. I should have saw it coming, but I didn't. I was like, wow, I'm really excited to talk about it now. But first of all, thanks for that. Second of all, me personally, like I said, for people who listen to this and become more interested in ECW or who watch WrestleMania and have their eyes open, hopefully, and they're more interested in ECW after that, whatever, I encourage people who don't know me or haven't talked to me, maybe seen me like on Call of Shoot or somewhere else, send me a friend request or a message if you're interested in joining ECW after this, because as much as I would like to see like WrestleMania hit something like triple-digit views, which is not something that happens very often with ECW shows, I would more so like to have new people come in for 2K17. And if there's like a person out there who feels like their character is like kind of struggling somewhere else, not to like steal somebody away from another show, I guarantee you that ECW can probably transform your character for you. Like I said, I took a lot of credit last time I was on here for what we did for Brandon Wolf. I mean, Brandon Wolf definitely transformed beyond that in COH and beyond. But I mean, I feel like I said, like, you know, our methods of trying to help grind people out and stuff. I think we can like grind some people in the diamonds. And I know there's a lot of people out there who kind of maybe under the radar and just kind of feel like they're dragging somewhere else. We might be the show that you're missing out on. And my door's always open. My phone's always on. Just message me or something. Would love to meet some new people.
All right, sweet. You guys heard the man. Do it.
Just do it.
Yeah, this has been
Join
awesome.
us.
Yeah, join us. You have no choice.
One of us. One of us. One of us.
Thank you guys for watching. See you guys next time on the next edition of the Shawn Walsh Show.